Hey guys, Brad Gilmore here. Want to give a big shout out to our title sponsor, Walker Texas Lawyer. If you or a loved one have been injured in an accident, whether that be a car, truck, motorcycle accident, or some kind of other issue, hit up Walker Texas Lawyer at 713-552-1117 or walkertexaslawyer.com.
Oh, Brad, what have you done now?
Broadcasting live from Houston, Texas, and around the world. TV host, best-selling author, and radio personality Brad Gilmore brings you a collection of conversations with stars from movies.
Matthew McConaughey.
Brad Gilmore.
Mark Wahlberg.
Hey, how are you?
The legendary Mr. Christopher Lloyd. Christopher, how are we doing?
I'm doing good. Great introduction.
Jessica Alba and Lizzie Mathis. Ladies, thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you.
Kevin Costner joins us. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Television.
Jimmy Fallon joins us this morning. Jimmy, how you doing, my friend?
Good morning. Thank you so much, Brad, for having me. I appreciate this, bud.
Kelly Ripa.
Brad, thank you for having me.
Comedy.
Jay Leno joins us. Jay, how you doing?
Hey, Brad, what's going on?
Chris Tucker is in the building. Chris Tucker, good morning to you.
Hey, Brad, and good morning to you. How are you?
George Lopez joins us right now. George, how are you doing, sir?
Good morning.
Music.
Lola Monroe.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
The legendary frontman of AC/DC, Brian Johnson, joins us right now. Brian, how you doing?
Good morning, Brad. What lovely to talk. You me funny lad.
Megan Trainor.
Thank you so much, Brad. You're awesome.
Chloe Bailey joins us. I appreciate the time.
Appreciate you.
And more. This is The Collection. Now your host, The Boat.
Brad Gilmore! And I'm so glad to be joined by my next guest. He's going to be taking the stage here at the Hobby Center starting on January the 6th through the 18th. You can get tickets at thehobbycenter.org or Broadway at thehobbycenter.com. We're talking about Disney's Beauty and the Beast, and the man himself joins me, Danny Gardner. Danny, how you doing, sir?
I'm great. Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, look, I love Beauty and the Beast. I'm a Disney guy. I've always been a Disney guy my whole life. This is one of the best ones that I think the Walt Disney Company has ever come out with. Were you already was Beauty and the Beast already in your top 5 before you did the show? Was that one of your favorites?
It was. When the animated feature came out in 1991, I loved it. It was one of the first movies I saw in a theater with my family. And so it had a huge impact on me. And I wore out the cassette tape that we had back then. Especially
the shell, the Disney shell, right? With the white shell. Yes.
Exactly. Yeah. So no, it was always a beloved movie, and now musical on stage. So
yeah, They did the live action version, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, with Emma Watson and everybody, and it was really, really well done. And when I saw that, I go, oh wow, I think a stage musical, which I already know was being done, but I was like, man, I really would love to see that because it is such a vibrant film that seems like it's tailored perfectly for a Broadway stage.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because in 1994, Beauty and the Beast was the first musical Disney ever did on Broadway. And so now it's the 30th anniversary of that. And so to be a part of it again, and they brought back pretty much the entire team from the original Broadway production. So the director, he was the choreographer then, now he's the choreographer and director, Linda Wolverton, who wrote the original book for the animated feature. She came back. Lighting, set design, all of it is back. And they really, in a beautiful way, updated it. And in a great way for our younger audiences, shortened it a little bit because the original production was quite long. And so they've cut some things out, but it really is a great adaptation. You have all the wonderful songs that you're ready for, but then new choreography and new dance arrangements and few new script parts. So it's a lot of fun.
I think that for anybody listening who's a fan of the original, maybe even seen the original Broadway production or the live action film, updates are a good thing, though. When people say they've updated it, it's a good thing. And I'll say this from a personal perspective. Back to the Future is my favorite movie of all time. Yeah. And I went and saw Back to the Future, the musical, a couple of years ago at the Winter Garden Theater over there on Broadway. And they did updates to it, but it completely works. It's really, really good. And as like a diehard fan, I was like, wow, these are really good updates. I like what they did with this. So I'm sure it's similar to Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, absolutely. The great thing about the stage production is that you get to understand kind of the spell that's been put on the whole castle from also the object's perspective. So these
Mm.
objects are becoming more and more inanimate objects as it's progressing. And so, like for example, as the petals are falling, Mrs. Potts says, she can hardly bend over at all anymore. And the humanity that is escaping these objects, but also the beast. There's a great line at the end of Act One that Belle runs away from him and he says, "No, you don't understand. There's so little of me left." And you
Mhm.
get to see his humanity escaping. And it's really a beautiful addition to it.
Yeah, and to me, you get to play when you talk about the objects. I
Yeah.
mean, maybe even more so, honestly. I honestly mean this, maybe more so than even Belle or the Beast. When people think of Beauty and the Beast, they think of Lumiere. I mean, they just
Yeah.
the iconography of him is so present and
Yes,
so attached to that title. You think of him
absolutely.
almost immediately.
Yeah, absolutely. No, he's such a great character. I mean, having the song "Be Our Guest"
Yes.
just right away is people know it, and it's such a joy to sing that after knowing it for 30 plus years, and then to actually bring it to life. And it's so great because at the very beginning, you can hear people in the audience. Lumiere has a line. She is not a prisoner. She is our guest. And as soon as I say guest, you hear in the audience because they know it's coming. And it's just so fun. And Lumiere, the character itself, he just stands for warmth in, the candelabra way, but also the human way, but also just love and never giving up. His passion throughout the whole show, even when the castle is under attack, he still wants to fight. So it really is. He's such a wonderful character to bring to life.
I can only imagine how much fun you have on stage because well, here's the thing. Let me start with this. I've always said, Danny, that Broadway performers who tour the show are
Yeah.
very similar to professional athletes in the
Mhm.
sense of you're in different cities all the time, you're in front of different crowds, you got to sleep in a bed that's not yours, you got to find restaurants that'll suit your fancy, you got to have your routines, you got to fly, you got to travel, you got to make all the planes and all the things. And I don't know if the average human being really thinks about all that goes into you getting onto the stage that very evening and all the things that have to go right for you to
Yeah.
feel you the best version of you on stage. Have you figured out during this tour or any that you've been kind of what your routine is?
Yeah. It's an ever evolving thing. As I get older as a artist, my body shifts.
Mhm.
And so I'm in my 40s, and so whereas when I was in my 20s and I was touring, I could just walk on stage and I'd be fine. Now I have to spend at least 20 minutes warming up vocally, physically. But also, so the challenging thing about Lumiere is that the whole costume is flame proof. So it's almost like wearing what race car drivers wear. So it's very thick and it's quilted, so it's kind of like a moving blanket. So it's very warm. But the other thing is we call them handle sticks on each because it's live flame, it's real flame, and I control it. But each one is about 6.5 pounds, and I'm moving with those, dancing with those. And so the body conditioning that I had to do and still have to maintain is really rigorous. And so that combination, and I'm also very wonderfully, my wife is in the show also, and we have an 8-month-old who is with us in tow. And so my
Jack,
in-laws
right?
have been
Yeah.
taking care of him. We're at the show. So it's the warm-ups that I had to do physically and mentally before when I was in my 20s, now when I'm 40 and I have a child, it's a little different. But now, having the in-laws has been so wonderful because I can take that moment at the show, 20 minutes, and just say, okay, I'm going to be here in front of this audience and do this show. And Jack is okay, and Emily is okay. It really is. It's it's great. It's great.
Well, when you have all that physicality, though, I guess after the first run through, first dress rehearsal of the show, for going back to when you first got onto it, were you
Yeah.
probably like, "What did I sign up for? How am I going to do this every night?"
Absolutely. The first time we ran Be Our Guest with the handle sticks, I went home and I almost had a breakdown. Like I emailed the associate choreographer and I said, "This isn't possible. I can't do this. Like there has to be, can we make the handle sticks out of styrofoam?" Like, and she got back to me and she said, "You light the handle sticks during the number. So you have," and I said, "Oh, that's right." So then the next day I came into rehearsal and our associate director, who's a good friend of mine, Sam Scalamoni, he said, "Just so you know, every Lumiere who plays this role has this moment. They run Be Our Guest for the first time with the actual weighted handle sticks, and they said, this is impossible." And he says, "It happens every time. Take a breath. You have time for rehearsal. You have technical rehearsals. It's going to be okay. You'll work it out." And I said, "Okay, you've done this longer than I have, so I'm going to trust you." And that's exactly what happened. It took a little while, but my body got used to it. And, we have a great physical therapist on tour with us, which is key.
Huge.
And so I see her once, twice a week just to be like, okay, now this is hurting. Now it's moved over here. But that's really been helpful also.
It's also amazing, like what the body, how it can build a callus towards something, and just almost go into that muscle memory mode to where,
Yeah.
for this 2.5 hours or whatever it is, it's going to do what I need it to do. Now, afterward, you might crash or whatever, or before you might be freaking out, but in that 2.5 hours, it works every time.
Absolutely. And we call it Dr. Spotlight. So you may feel one thing off stage, but as soon as you can get in front of that spotlight in that audience, you're like, "Oh, I'm fine." And
That's
the
funny.
hardest thing though is, so we call them 5-show weekends. So we have 1 show Friday, 2 shows Saturday, 2 shows Sunday. The Sunday is the hardest, specifically the Sunday matinee for some reason, because Sunday night you're like, we got a day off tomorrow, we're fine. But Sunday matinee before the show feels the hardest. That's when the body aches and stuff like that. But again, as soon as you get on that stage, you hear the audience excited, you just, get lighter. That's what makes live performance and musical theater specifically so wonderful, because as soon as you get on stage and they know the show, they know the songs, you're like, okay, it's all worth it. I can push through.
Yeah.
So,
Dr. Spotlight. I think I'm gonna have to steal that
right?
one. We say red light guy. Like I'm a red light guy. I'll be
Oh, there
tired
you
until
go.
that red light comes on.
Yeah.
So okay, let's go back to the show for a second, because again, it's gonna be at the Hobby Center. Tickets at thehobbycenter.org or Broadway at thehobbycenter.com. You also got to do Be Our Guest on Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, I feel like Dancing with the Stars is bigger than it's ever been now. It's like the most
Yeah.
watched show in America.
Yeah.
And you got to perform on it. How was that experience for you?
That was, I think, one of the most intense things I've ever done, because
Yeah.
so in, theater, you do it once, it's live, but when it's filmed and you get 1, maybe 2 takes at it, that's it. And Mandy Moore, who choreographed it, the very first day we had rehearsal, I had a great session with her and her associate choreographer in a studio, just the 3 of us. And she was like, "Listen, when we go the day of, you got to lock in. So whatever you need to do, you do yoga, you go to the sauna, go to the gym, whatever. Do that the day before so you are cool, calm, and collected, but you got to be there, right there, because we have 1, maybe 2 takes. That's it." And so and that's the thing, TV, sometimes people think, well, you shoot part of it, then you stop, and then you move the camera. Dancing with the Stars, it's a full run through. We did the entire thing in 1 take, and that's all it took. I thought we were going to do 2 takes, and it's funny because at the end of that first take that we used, I was sitting backstage getting water, and I was like, okay, I can do that step better. That I need to be stronger. That needs to be. And then they were like, great, we got it. And I said, what? That's it? And they said, no, it was great. So, but it was really, really intense. The other thing is that ballroom is so loud. Like once you get in there with the audience and the confetti, and I'm lighting things on fire, and it really is overwhelming, but they have it down to clockwork. So everybody on the technical end is just, steady and calm. And so it was one of the highlights of my career. It was so fun.
That's
Uh,
amazing. It's amazing
yeah.
too to just also, I think that's probably what's good about touring the show as well, is you get in front of a different audience and those audiences sometimes react like, oh wow, they laughed at this line in Dallas and they didn't laugh at
Yep.
it in Seattle, but they
Yep.
must have connected and that what keeps the show, I'm sure, fresh too.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's each audience is so unique. And the great thing about this show is that we have three generations coming now. You know, you have the parents who originally showed their kids, and now they have kids. And so they come and, you know, the theater etiquette, sometimes the young kids don't know the theater etiquette. So in each city, sometimes kids speak up. Like, for example, just the other day at the beginning of the second act, the beast, that's when Belle runs into the woods and the wolves come after Belle, and then the beast saves her. Well, the beast goes down at one point and we don't know if he's okay or not. And this little boy was like, no, beast, no. He was so into the story that he was inconsolable until the beast got back up and Belle took care of him. But that reality of the what the younger audiences bring is so great, because the thing is they're always talking about the story. They're always invested and they always like speak out. Like, we've had multiple kids when Belle comes in and says, hello, hello. Multiple kids have been like, hi, Belle. You know, it's always they're listening. They're in the story. And that's the wonderful thing. So each audience is different. And like you said, that makes it so fresh each time.
Yeah, and I don't know, somebody told me a long time ago, like it can't go wrong if it's live, and I know it's like said
Mhm.
tongue in cheek, but like at the same time, it really can't. Like just even those small differences between one show or another made that experience for that crowd unique, and it also as a
Yep.
performer, you're like, oh, you remember in Dallas where the kid called out to me during Be Our
Yep.
Guest or whatever the case might be. For a performer, it's also a nice thing to, I don't know, I guess just to differentiate for show to show.
Absolutely. And it keeps you on your toes, and it's always that, for me, it's always that thing of, do we acknowledge what happened in the audience, or do we acknowledge what happened on stage, or do we just continue on? And that's a fun game to play. So like the one time the audience, Belle had a retort to the beast and the audience went, ooh, and I had the next line. So I went, ooh, and the audience went nuts for it. So it's a fun back and forth.
And that comes with listening and like knowing how to read the moment too, right?
Yep, yep,
Because you don't want to
absolutely.
improv something that doesn't work.
Yes, that's always the worst. That's always the worst. In my younger career, I used to improv a little bit more, and then, I learned that no, you got to pick and choose those very carefully.
What out of the shows that you've done, you've been a part of so many on Broadway. I mean, A Christmas Carol, we're in the Christmas season. And I
Yeah.
know you did Mary Poppins, I believe. And out of all the shows that you've done, which one has been, aside from Beauty and the Beast, which I know we're
Hmm.
talking about, but which one has been like a personal favorite of yours?
I think the very first show I did on Broadway, Dames at Sea, not a lot of people know it, but it was there were only 6 people in the show, and it was a bunch of tap dancing and comedy. And because it was my first Broadway show, it was 10 years after I graduated college. So it kind of took me 10 years to get to the place I wanted to be. That was a really special experience. Also, because I had never been on Broadway, but all 6 performers in the show were cast as principals. So there's an ensemble contract and then there's a principal contract on Broadway. And being that I'd never been on Broadway and was bumped right to principal was a unique thing. But the director choreographer, Randy Skinner, he really fought for me. And it was just so wonderful to be trusted like that with a role. And then to have my family, my mom, my parents have always been a big support. My mom got a bus to come to New York, and like it was really very special. Yeah,
Dames at Sea. Dames at
yeah,
Sea is the one.
yeah.
Okay, let me ask you this, and then we'll wrap on this. But obviously, Be Our Guest is the highlight of this show for most people. Most people know this song the most. But
Yeah.
what song do you enjoy, not as a performer, just watching? Which one do you enjoy? Which number from the show do you enjoy just kind of being a fan of?
I love in the second act, Kira Bell Johnson, who plays Belle, and her actual middle name is Belle, so but she sings "A Change in Me," which is like her big number in the second act, just realizing what has happened. And she has found such a truthful, honest way to portray it, but also her vocals every night are crystal clear. It's almost like, I don't know how she does it, but it's like she's a machine. Just every night she kills it. And it's fun going from Be Our Guest, which is like a 10-minute long dance number with, extravaganza. There are things that shoot out at the audience at the end. And in the second act, she sings this heartfelt, song and gets the same reaction as Be Our Guest. I mean, people are so excited because it's heartfelt, but also the vocals are wonderful. So it really is that every night I'm off stage waiting to go on. And it's just every night I'm like, wow, she is just fantastic. And it's perfect for the second act where that leads into. So yeah, it's great.
It's always great to be a part of, I'm sure, any production, but let alone one that you're a fan of and have a history with going back to a kid and being able to now bring it to life for, like you said, 3 generations. We got the grandparents, the parents, and the kids coming out to see this thing, and they're going to be coming to the Hobby Center Tuesday through Friday at 7:30. Saturday, you got the matinee show and the evening show, but it's January 6th through the 18th, tickets at thehobbycenter.org or Broadway at thehobbycenter.com. Danny, been a pleasure to talk to you. Congrats on all your success. I'm excited to see the show. I'm going to be there. I'm going to be cheering.
Awesome.
I'll be calling out to you in the audience. I'm going to be doing it all.
Awesome. Great to meet you.
Have a good one, Danny. Thank you.